So, we talked about 3 stories: Musa, Sulaiman, and the Prophet ﷺ. From this, we learn that sihr is a reality. You cannot deny it. It's very clear in the Quran and Sunnah. Explicit. And therefore, the question arises, what exactly is sihr? All of this was somewhat of an introduction because I wanted to prove to you that nobody can deny sihr if you believe in the Quran and Sunnah. What exactly is sihr? Well, before we get to what is sihr, let us say what it is not. When I say magic, when I say sihr, we are not talking about the tricks that entertainers do of our times. The types of trickery that entertainers do on the street or on television, and they call themselves magicians, this is not the sihr that we are talking about. That entertainment deals with illusions, optical illusions, sleight of hand, that he'll convince you that a ball is in his hand, in reality he's already put it in the other hand. And he does this and that, and you think it's in this hand, lo and behold, he pulls it out of the other one, right? Basically, the type of magic that we see on television, which is entertainment, pulling rabbits out of hats and sawing people in half and whatnot, this has nothing to do with actual sihr. A real sahir is not an entertainer on television, even if he wants to appear like this. A real sahir is not somebody that's going to be doing these tricks of trades and magic cards and whatnot. This is not sihr. By and large, this is nothing to do. This is illusion, sleight of hand, misdirection, modern technology. A lot of these magicians are using state-of-the-art technology even nowadays. And even, for example, Harry Houdini of the 100 years ago was using technology of his era that we now think is pretty backward. But for his era, he's using state-of-the-art stuff, right? Similarly, the magicians of our times are using state-of-the-art technology to make it appear something that you do not understand. And also, I mean, a lot of them are mass deception, i.e., you see things on television and the reality, as it is well known, the audience is staged. They're paid or they're volunteers or whatever, and the plane disappears and the audience is gasping, oh wow. Well, the audience is in on the act basically, and it's entertainment for us watching on ABC, NBC. This is not real sihr. Real sihr does not occur as entertainment. So that sihr has nothing to do with Fir'aun and the story of Musa and Labid ibn al-A'sam. That's not what we're talking about. Now, some of our scholars are very strict and they say all of that is haram, and I understand, and definitely it's not something that we want to encourage, but at the same time, I don't think that that is haram. And our children like to see these acts, and they know, our children even at a young age know when the rabbit is pulled out of the hat, there's some type of illusion. I don't understand how. It's just cute to look at, right? In my humble opinion, and I know a lot of greater ulama, far more knowledgeable than me, have said it is haram, but realistically, living in this society, we're surrounded by these magicians. That is not haram. That is just entertainment. Whether it's encouraged, no, it's not encouraged. And I wouldn't encourage our young men and women to get involved, but it's not a stepping stone to devil worship. Let's be real here, right? If you get a magic set on Amazon.com and it gives you these tricks and whatnot, it doesn't tell you how to worship the devil. You have trick cubes and trick boxes, and you know what I'm talking about here, right? That is simple child's play. And no doubt our children should be interested in more serious things, but that's not haram. It's just entertainment and whatnot. So then what type of sihr are we talking about? We are talking about sihr that is in our vernacular called black magic or the dark arts. That in our vernacular is called, this is the dark arts. And the type of sihr that the Quran talks about is the sihr that deals with the jinn. That is the type of sihr that of course has been prohibited. So, for those who came late, I said that we had already talked about the reality of the jinn. I'm not going to go over all of the details of that, but just a quick refresher. If we understand the reality of the jinn, we will understand the reality of magic. So when I say magic from now on, we're not talking about the fake magic. I call that, entertainment magic. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actual sihr. So if we understand the reality of the jinn, we will understand the reality of sihr, because you cannot have sihr without the jinn. The jinn intrinsically go with sihr. There's no such thing as sihr without jinn. Clear? Every sihr has to have jinn involved. Because in the end of the day, how does something happen? The magician has no power. That's why Musa accused them, you're frauds. You don't have any power, and you know that. You're lying. The magician pretends that he has power. In reality, the power of the magician is nothing other than the physical, natural services of the jinn. So if we understand what the jinn are naturally capable of, and we understand that the jinn have, for some reason, what that reason is we'll talk about now, agreed to help the magician, we will understand that magic is nothing other than what the jinns are naturally capable of doing. There's no supernatural, there's no mystical, there's no semi-divine. The jinns are not all powerful. Rather, Allah has given them strengths that He has not given us. And He has given us strengths that He has not given them. So when the magician utilizes the strengths of the jinn, we don't have to be astonished and amazed and say, oh my God, how did he do that? Rather, just like we can see a man galloping on a horse at, mashallah, tabarakallah, how fast does a horse gallop? I have no idea, 40 miles an hour, I don't know, 40, 50 miles an hour, right? Now, imagine if we saw the man galloping on a horse, right? Would we say, mashallah, how did he do? We know a horse goes 50 miles an hour, what's so big deal? Correct? Now imagine if we couldn't see the horse and we saw the man going that fast. We would be pretty freaked out, right? But once we understand that it's just the jinn doing it, nothing supernatural. Now, when I say nothing supernatural, for the jinn it's not supernatural. For us, from our world, it's supernatural. For our world, but not for the jinn. For the jinn, it's totally natural. And so if we understand the physical and psychological nature of the jinn, we will understand magic completely. And wallahi, we will not fear it anymore. Because it is ignorance that causes us to fear this. We will not fear it at all, any more than we fear a predator. Yes, if we see a snake, I will be scared. But that's a natural fear. Okay, so if we discover magic, we should also, some of us might feel a natural fear, but there should not be a fear of the unknown or unknown. It's just that it's bewildering for us because we cannot see the jinn. We cannot see it. That's why it throws everything into confusion. If we could see the jinn, we would fear it like we fear a beast, like we fear a predator, like we fear, but because we cannot, our fear becomes mystical. And sometimes even borders on shirk or beyond what it should be, and that's a problem. So